You've likely experienced the frustration of staring at a grocery list or a set of notes, repeating them over and over again, only to draw a complete blank the moment you actually need them. In the next 6 minutes, you are going to memorize a completely random 10-item list, and you'll be able to recite it both forward and backward. For this to work, you must put away your pens, your phone, and your note-taking apps. The goal is to prove you don't actually need them. We're going to replace your physical notes with a technique called the Ridiculous Association Link System. Long-term memory doesn't come from the strain of mental repetition. It comes from how clearly you observe an idea the very first time you encounter it. A normal picture, one that makes sense, is easy to ignore. To make an image stick, we have to make it impossible for your brain to overlook. Look at the difference. On the left, a standard airplane flying over a tree. It's logical, so it's forgettable. On the right, a gigantic pine tree with metal wings. That's the kind of picture that stays with you. To create these images on command, we use 4 specific rules. Rule 1 is substitution. Instead of an airplane, you see a tree flying. Rule 2 is out of proportion. You make objects gigantic, like a tree larger than the clouds. Rule 3 is exaggeration. Don't just see one flying tree, see millions of them. And Rule 4 is action. If the items are moving, like millions of earrings violently flying out of an envelope and hitting you in the face, they are much harder to forget. By applying these rules, you force yourself to consciously look at the information, turning a boring list into a movie that is physically impossible to ignore. Let's start the chain with our first 3 items: airplane, tree, and envelope. First, link airplane to tree. See millions of gigantic trees with suitcases boarding a commercial airliner. Take a second to see that clearly. This is the 1-second rule. You don't need to stare at the image for a long time. You just need to see it with absolute clarity for about 1 second before moving on. Now, link tree to envelope. Picture a massive oak tree trying to fold its branches and seal itself inside a gigantic paper envelope. Remember, do not try to memorize this. Just watch the ridiculous movie you're projecting in your mind. When you trust the association, you stop putting the burden on your working memory and let your visual cortex handle earring, bucket, sing, basketball, salami, star, and nose. Link envelope to earring. You open an envelope and millions of tiny earrings fly out, hitting you in the eyes. Link earring to bucket. You aren't wearing earrings, you've hooked 2 gigantic, heavy metal buckets to your earlobes. Link bucket to sing. A bucket is standing on a stage with a microphone, singing at the top of its lungs. Link sing to basketball. Someone is singing, but instead of notes, orange basketballs are flying out of their mouth. Link basketball to salami. A basketball player is running down the court, but they're dribbling a massive, floppy salami. Link salami to star. You are in the kitchen slicing a salami, but when you cut into it, you find you're actually slicing a bright, twinkling star. Finally, link star to nose. You look at a person and see a star twinkling right in the middle of their face where their nose should be. Moving quickly ensures your logical brain doesn't have time to step in and say, "That's impossible." We want the absurd version to be the only thing you see. It's time for the test. Think of the first item. Airplane. What was that airplane doing? What was it linked to? Pause the video. Follow the chain from the airplane to the end and see if you can name all 10 items. Let's check. The airplane was boarded by trees. The tree went in an envelope. The envelope spit out earrings. The earring was a bucket. The bucket could sing. Singing produced basketballs. The basketball was a salami. The salami was a star. And the star was a nose. If you missed one, don't worry. It just means that specific link wasn't ridiculous enough. Go back, make the image more absurd or add more action, and try again. Now try it backward. Start with the nose. What was the nose? A star. What were you slicing instead of a star? The salami. Trace the triggers all the way back to the start. Because these links are visual and connected, the chain works in any direction. The recall is built into the images themselves. You just successfully memorized a sequence of data without a single moment of rote repetition. To make sure this list stays with you for as long as you want, you simply need to follow a review schedule. This graph shows how we lose information. To stop the decay, you just need to mentally walk through your chain 3 times. Once tomorrow, again in 3 days, and once more in a week. After that, the list becomes a permanent part of your memory. Now it's your turn to practice. Have a friend named 15 random objects, and use these 4 rules to link them instantly as they speak. A great memory isn't a gift you're born with. It's a skill you build by choosing to see the world in a more ridiculous way.